Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. Peter Pan.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? It's your girl T Michelle back here with another video for y'all. And y'all already know what it means when I start looking crazy like this. You know I'm about to hit y'all with another episode of Let Me Put You On. Now, y'all, for those of you that don't know, December 1st was World AIDS Day. So I really wanted to do a story that touched on World AIDS Day. And I wanted to pay tribute to this kid because his birthday is today. His birthday is December 6th. So I wanted to pay tribute to this dude right here. So today on this episode of Let Me Put You On, we are going to talk about Ryan White. Right, y'all? Very interesting story for y'all that don't know. I really suggest that y'all pay attention because this was some fuck shit that was going on here. So in order for us to do that, y'all already know what we got to do. We got to jump into our time machines again. And we are going to go back because we've been there before. But we had so much fun, I say that we go back. We're going to go back to 1984. So let's get it. Hey, we in 1984 again. I ain't gotta tell y'all what was going on in 1984 because I already told y'all in my video about Eleanor Bumpers what was going on in 1984. But this story is kind of like 1984, 1985-ish, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, but y'all already know what was going on in 1984. Okay, so we're not going to touch on that again. So we just going to get straight into the story. In 1984, as I told y'all in my other Let Me Put You On video, that's like when AIDS was really at like an all-time high. But there was a stigma about AIDS. And the stigma was only gay men is getting it. If you're not gay, you can't get AIDS. That was the stigma. But then in 1984, 1985, 1986, 1987, other people started getting it. Heteros started getting it. Like Magic Johnson came out and said that he had HIV. Arthur Ashe came out and said that he had HIV. You know, all these hetero people was coming out saying, no, you can get it, you know, if you're not gay. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was still stigmatized. So the government was really on some bullshit, like, you know, on some hatred type shit. Like, listen, homosexuals is getting it. It's God's punishment for them doing the shit that they doing and living how they living and having sex with other men and having sex with other women. It wasn't really for women, you know what I'm saying? It was all basically men. It was like, well, that's God's punishment, so we don't need to be worrying about funding treatment for them and stuff. Let's give them this little drug and send them on their way. If they die, they die. That's basically what the government was on in the 1980s. Until Ryan White. Ryan White was a little boy, and he was born a little boy from Kokomo, Indiana. I don't even know where the fuck Kokomo, Indiana is, y'all. Do y'all know where that shit is? Because I don't even know where that shit is. But Ryan White was a little boy from Kokomo, Indiana. He was born on December 6th, 1971. And when he was born, like most little boys, you know, he got circumcised. He was getting circumcised. But when they circumcised him, he wouldn't stop bleeding. So they ran tests or whatever. And when he was 3 days old, he was diagnosed with severe hemophilia type A. Now, let me tell y'all who don't know what hemophilia is. When you are a hemophiliac, your blood does not clot the way it's supposed to clot. That's what stops you from bleeding when you get cut. Your blood clotting. But when you a hemophiliac, something goes on in your body, you know, like his mom, I think his mom had the factor. There's a factor in your chromosomes. You have an X chromosome or something like that. You know, y'all can read up on it. But something in your body stops your blood from clotting the way that it's supposed to. So if you get a little tiny cut, you can nick yourself shaving, you could fall off your bike and start bleeding, and you could actually bleed to death because your blood doesn't clot. So they diagnosed him with hemophilia, said he was a hemophiliac or whatever, and they told his mom that, okay, well, he's going to have blood transfusions for the rest of his life because of this condition. You know what I'm saying? So they started giving him regular transfusions of what they call, I think it's called factor 8 blood. Now y'all gonna understand, back then they ain't know much about AIDS. They didn't know, how you could get it. Like I told y'all, it was a stigma. Like, no, if you gay, this is what happens to you. So they giving this little boy all these blood transfusions. Back then they didn't really test the blood and where the blood was coming from. Like, they was on some reckless shit back in the 80s. So when Ryan was like mid-teen, maybe 8, 12, between 8 and 12 years old, he got really sick. He caught a cold and, he just wasn't getting better. So his mom took him to the hospital and they ran tests on him and found out that he had pneumonia. But the type of pneumonia that he had, when they found out that he had pneumonia, they had to take a biopsy on his lungs to find out what type of pneumonia it was. And when they looked and saw what type of pneumonia it was the type of pneumonia that only people with AIDS got. So they're like, oh shit, this little boy has AIDS. So in December of 1984, he was diagnosed with AIDS. And it wasn't HIV. Like, he had full-blown AIDS. So his mom is like, oh shit. Like, naturally, she's the one that had the gene. And she started blaming herself and she was depressed. She says it, his mom is still alive, y'all. So she talks about this and she's like how she blamed herself because she was the one that had the gene that gave him hemophilia, and she had contemplated killing herself and killing him and killing his sister, his baby sister. But she was like, nah, that's selfish and all type of stuff like that. Let's see what's going on. So initially, y'all, they only gave Ryan 6 months to live. They said that he was so weak and he wasn't getting better, and they wasn't expecting him to live past 6 months. So they basically called it quits. Like, okay, this kid is not going to live past 6 months. So I mean, it is what it is. But I always say that God has a plan for you, and sometimes you don't always know until shit hits the fan. So Ryan didn't die. And in 1985, early 1985, he started feeling better. He started, like, Mom, I feel great. Like, so, of course, like most kids, not most kids, because I wasn't one of them kids. Ryan loves school. So he was like, well, Mom, I'm feeling better. Like, I'm not sick like I used to be. When can I go back to school? So she goes to the board of education, I guess, in Kokomo. She's like, Ryan is doing good and Ryan is better, and when can he come back to school? And they're like, don't your son have AIDS? Your son ain't coming back to this school. So she's like, what do you mean? Like, yes, he has AIDS, but you can't get AIDS from physical contact with just everyday contact with somebody. What are y'all talking about? They're like, ma'am, hell no. That kid is not coming back to this school. So she has to go home and she's like, he's like, Mom, I want to go to school. Like, when can I go back to school? And she's like, Ryan, they're not going to let you come back to school because you have AIDS. He's like, what? And she's like, they're not going to let you come back to school because you got AIDS. And they're fearful that you can spread it to other kids. So they go and they take all the necessary steps. They go to all his doctors to get letters and you know, lab technicians, everybody to come and say you cannot get AIDS from everyday contact. You do not catch this disease this way. He got it from contaminated blood. That's how he got it. You cannot get it from touching somebody's hand. You cannot get it from drinking from the same water fountain, going to the same bathroom. These people were so ignorant, y'all. They were so ignorant. And this is what they were thinking. Like, you know, he's going to come in here and he's going to spread this disease to all these kids that he go to school with. So, you know, they go, like I said, they go and they get all these letters from all these doctors and all these lab technicians and all these, you know, medical professionals that say, okay, this is not how you get AIDS. This is how you get AIDS. School board didn't give a shit about none of that. They were like, no, this kid is not coming here. Like, this kid is not coming here. Now, Kokomo is a very small town. So a majority of the kids went to the same school. And so the community as a whole decided, we don't want this kid in school. Let's take up a petition on this kid. You know, Ryan, like I said, y'all, at the time, between 8 and like 13 years old, 14, 15, when you in middle school, you know what I'm saying? He got grown ass people taking up a petition so that he can stay out of school. So his mom's is like, oh, hell no. This is not going down. My kid is going to go to school. So she went and she got herself a lawyer. And the lawyer is like, okay, we're going to have to battle this out in court, because if these people going to be on some bullshit like that, then we're going to have to take this to the court, because it's a violation of his human rights. You know, this is discrimination. You know, you should not be barred from going to school because of a condition that you have at no fault of your own. So like I said, you had people in the community taking up petitions to keep him out of school, saying that they didn't want him there, that he was going to spread the disease and he was going to spread the illness to everybody that, you know, went to school with him and all type of stuff. So anyway, y'all, they took the shit to court. And the court thought it was ridiculous too. The court was like, no, this kid got every right to go to school. You know, we heard testimony from doctors. We heard testimony from people that do public health and all type of stuff. And it is clear that you cannot get AIDS from regular everyday contact. So this kid is going back to school. The people in Kokomo was like, we don't want him here. We don't want him here in our community. We don't want him going to school with his kids. So guess what? If he comes to school, I'm keeping my kid at home. This went on for months, y'all. This going to court and all type of stuff. And he never once was like, Mom, you know, forget it. You know, they don't want me there. All right, I just won't go. He was like, no, I want to go to school. Like, I like school. Like, any interview that, if y'all look him up online and see what interviews he did, he said it over and over again. I like school. I like to go to school. I want to be normal. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I have this disease, but I'm a normal kid. Like, I like riding my bike. I like skateboarding. I like going to school. I like reading. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, chill.
Ryan White says he gets very lonely. He misses his friends. The 13-year-old was banned from school after it was found he was suffering from AIDS, and now his school have said they never want him back in class. Doctors say he hasn't long to live.
I don't want nobody else to get it, and I can see where they're worried. But, I mean, if my doctor says it's okay to go back, I mean, I don't see no reason why I can't.
Ryan is a haemophiliac and contracted AIDS after a routine blood transfusion. But the school authorities say he's better off at home or in hospital, anywhere, so long as it's not in class.
Ryan had no control over getting AIDS. And we've just had to fight for, it seems like, everything. And now we'll just have to keep on fighting.
This boy did not give up. He was like, nah, I want to go to school. So like I said, y'all, this went on for months and months and months and months. And finally, again, the court says, like, this kid got a right to go to school. You cannot keep him out of school because he has AIDS. So, because the people in Kokomo were so ignorant and they, you know, they was like, nah, fuck that shit. Ryan went back to school. in Kokomo. But he had to go to school with ridiculous conditions. He couldn't use the same bathroom as the kids in the school. He couldn't use the same water fountain as the kids in the school. He had to use plastic utensils. Like when he went to lunch, he had to sit at a separate lunch table. He had to eat from plastic utensils and shit like that. And they would throw his shit away after he would eat. You know what I mean? He couldn't go to gym because there was people saying, oh, if he sweats, if he goes to gym class with these kids and he sweats, you know, he's going to give them AIDS. All type of shit. They basically isolated him from all the kids in the school. And for some parents, that still wasn't enough. They was like, hell no, I'm not sending my kid to school as long as this kid is here. Not only was that going on, but he was also bullied. They would bully him in school. These are grown people and kids, because, you know, they mimicking their parents. Their parents is ignorant, so of course, you know, the kids is going to pick up on the shit. They started saying things like he was biting people. They was saying that he was spitting in people's food. All this shit completely not true, but they was trying to get him out. So they were saying that he was spitting in kids' food. You know, they would go and write faggot on his locker. Like, nah, this kid has to be gay. He has AIDS. Like, I know they saying that he got it from a blood transfusion, but nah, he's gay. Like, everybody knows that's a gay person's disease. This kid got AIDS, and this is grown people, y'all.
You know, before we went on the air, and you were telling me some of the charges that kids were leveling against you while you were in school back in Kokomo. Just tell our audience about that, would you?
Well, they marked my folders. They marked fag and other cruel things.
I was talking about, you know, they accused you of what, spitting on the vegetables or something?
Yeah, spitting on vegetables and taking bites out of cookies and putting them back.
Why would people do that? Just to be spiteful, or because they're scared?
Well, I think they were scared first and foremost, and it just led to where, you know, their fear just took control of them, and they just believed what they wanted to believe.
Like I said, this is more harassment and bullying came from grown ass people. Eventually, you know, one night, somebody decided to shoot at his house. And, you know, I don't think they were home, but they came home and there was bullet holes all in their house. So his mom was like, you know what, fuck this shit. We not staying here. We got to leave Kokomo. So they packed up their shit and they left Kokomo. And they went and they moved to Cicero, Indiana. Now, y'all, this is when everything started, like, picking up. This is when this became national news because, like I said, y'all, the court battle that he was going through with the school board, this went on for months. So, of course, people was picking up on it, and it was just like, okay, yeah, there's a little boy that got diagnosed with AIDS, and they're not letting him go to school. And the people in Cicero had heard about this, too. So, when he moved to Cicero, he was ready to start school in Cicero. And he was real scared. He was like, oh, my God, I hope it's not going to be the same shit as, you know, when I was in Kokomo. You know, motherfuckers bullying me and, you know, and calling me names and all type of shit like that. Completely different, y'all. Completely different. Thank God. Thank God there's some decent people in this fucking world. Completely different. So he goes to Cicero. He goes to Cicero. And they welcome him. The kids welcome him. You know, his first day of school, they had signs like, welcome. You know, we're happy to have you here. We're happy that you're a part of the community. So he was like, oh, shit. Like, wow. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to abide by all these little stupid rules and him sitting all the way over here and all type of shit. Not only that, y'all, but when he was in Kokomo, they had him going to school by phone. Like, they tried to make him go to school by phone. And back then, you know, it wasn't like technology now. So, you know, a lot of the times he couldn't hear the lessons, like all type of shit. Like I said, when he went to Cicero, it wasn't none of that shit. It was like, no, you just like everybody else. Like, we gonna treat you just like we treat everybody else. So he was going to school. He went to dances. He had a whole bunch of friends, you know. People in the community really welcomed him. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's when he started getting famous. Like, he started getting some popularity. Like, people like Elton John had heard about him. He was on the Phil Donahue show, for y'all that are my age and remember Phil Donahue. He was on the Phil Donahue show and just spreading awareness. Like, you know, yes, you get it from contaminated blood. You get it from semen. You know what I'm saying? But you can't get it from kissing. You can't get it from holding my hand. You can give me a hug. You're not going to catch anything. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, one of his favorite artists of all time was Michael Jackson. So y'all know how Michael loved the kids. Y'all know how Michael loved the kids. So Michael heard about this kid and Michael started calling him, you know what I'm saying, bringing him to shows and all type of stuff. So this is now y'all, we moving into like the 90s. We moving into the 90s and stuff like that. So Ryan is getting older, but like I said, y'all, he got public notoriety now because of everything that he went through. So, you know, like I said, Michael brought him to the Neverland Ranch and all type of stuff. And when he was 16 and he got his license, Michael was like, yo, what's your favorite car? And he's like, oh, I like a Mustang. My favorite car is a Mustang. I forgot what kind it was, y'all. I'll put it down below. But he's like, yo, I'm feeling the Mustang. Like, I always wanted a Mustang. Michael's like, yo, I got you. Michael bought him a Mustang. Michael bought his first car for him or whatever like that. So, yeah, y'all, Ryan was really, you know, of everything that the kid went through, you know, it kind of paid off because, like I said, not only was he bringing awareness to, you know, this stigma that was surrounding AIDS or whatever like that, you know, like I said, he's getting all these famous friends, Michael Jackson, Elton John, Laura Bush, like all these people, you know what I'm saying? All these people was looking out for the kid, you know? Unfortunately, you know, through all of this, you know, he still was battling this disease. And when 1990 came around, he started getting sick. And he just wasn't getting better like he was before, you know. I think a lot of the times a lot of people forgot that he actually had AIDS, that he still was fighting an illness, you know what I mean? So in 1990, you know, he wasn't feeling well. He was sick, but he went to a Oscar party. The president had invited him to an Oscar party or whatever like that, and to have people so that he can come and talk to people at the Oscar party about AIDS and AIDS awareness and stuff like that. So, you know, he told his mom, he's like, Mom, I'm really not feeling good, but I'll go and I'll do this. So he went and he did the little Oscar party, but then he got real sick. So they went back home and he went to the hospital immediately. And it got bad, y'all. It got real bad. He had pneumonia again, and it got really bad. And so it got so bad that the doctors told his mom, like, you know, he's not healing. He's not getting better. You know, the medication is not really helping him. So we want to sedate him just to see if his body is gonna heal itself, basically. So his mom was like, no, like, hell no, you're not putting my kid in a coma, no. But Ryan, you know, Ryan was that G. He was like, listen, Mom, if it's gonna help, me, let them put me to sleep. Like, you know what I mean? If it's gonna help, let them put me to sleep. She said that he was fearless. He wasn't scared. He wasn't scared at all. So they put him in a coma. But when they put him in the coma, he got worse. He didn't get no better. He got 10 times worse. So they all knew that, you know, this is probably going to be the time that he goes, you know. So his mom started calling, you know, everybody. She started calling Michael Jackson. She started calling Elton John. Elton John was on tour. So Elton John was like, yo, I will come right now. Like, I will come right now if you need me to. She's like, I don't think that he's going to make it through the night. So if you're going to come, then you should come. Elton was on the next plane. Abandoned his tour. He was like, I'm going. Like, this kid changed my life because he put me onto shit that I didn't know nothing about. As y'all know, Elton John is gay. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have AIDS or anything like that, but he's gay. And like I said, y'all, it was a growing stigma in the community about AIDS and how it was only a gay person's disease. You know what I'm saying? So Ryan, in a way, was kind of shedding light on their community. Like, no, this is not just them. This is affecting everybody. So Elton John comes and, you know, pays for all the hospital bills, and he was there. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson is calling, and, you know, Michael is trying to leave, but he can't leave. I forgot what tour Michael was on. It might have been the Bad Tour. It had to be the Bad Tour. Yeah, he was on the Bad Tour and stuff. And you know, Michael is calling his mom, like, you know, yo, how's he doing? Like, I'm trying to get there and stuff like that. And Ryan's mom was like, Michael, he's not going to make it. So you might as well just, you know, get here when you can, because he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. And on April 8th, 1990, Ryan passed away. He passed away from AIDS-related pneumonia. Everybody was sad. The entire world, you know what I'm saying? The entire world was sad because this kid was so young. He was only 18, y'all. But to be 18 and to spread awareness the way that he was spreading awareness, you know what I mean? Like I said, y'all, there was a stigma that only gay people got this disease. And after he passed away, and even while he was alive, some people came out, you know, and admitted that they also had AIDS. Like, there was a lady, I'm going to do one on her too, Elizabeth Glacier. Elizabeth Glacier was married to the guy that was in the original Starsky and Hutch. I can't remember the dude's name, but his name, I'm going to put his name down here. But yes, Elizabeth Glacier, she had contracted AIDS from blood transfusions too after she had, I think, her daughter. She had her daughter. She lost a lot of blood and she contracted AIDS. And then the Olympic medal winner, he came out and said that he had AIDS also after he had, he was a swimmer. And he happened to do a backflip off the high dive and hit his head on the back of the high dive. And, you know, there was blood everywhere and all type of stuff. So he had to tell people, like, look, I have AIDS and stuff like that, you know. But he was scared because, like I told y'all, there was a stigma. So not only did he have AIDS, but he was gay. So he was scared to even tell anybody. But he said that when he saw Ryan on TV and, you know, they met a couple of times and he spent time with him and all type of stuff, he's like, man, this kid is so fearless. And here I am, you know, I'm older than him. And I'm scared to actually come out and say, yes, I have AIDS. So yeah, y'all, that's basically what happened. So we can go back to 2020 now, and we're going to talk about the aftermath, y'all. Let's get it. So yeah, y'all. Oh boy. Ryan White. That kid changed the way everybody looked at AIDS. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of fucked up to say. Because like I said in the beginning, you know, it was like the government was on some shit like, oh, if these gay people got it, then who cares? Let them die because that's God's punishment to them. You know what I'm saying? But then, you know, this little boy gets it and it's like, oh, no, we need to pay more attention to this. Like, this is something real. You know what I mean? So because of that, even though it was fucked up, but because of that, people started paying and donating more money to AIDS research, you know, and they started paying more attention to, you know, testing blood the proper way. But yeah, they started paying more attention to, you know, the way they tested blood and the way that they would do blood transfusions. They started giving more drugs that had less side effects and had more of an effect on making you better instead of, you know, making you sick. Because there was people that was on drugs, but they were dying. They were still dying because it wasn't a real drug. Like it didn't do anything. So after Ryan passed away, it was like, okay, nah, we need to really do some research and find out what it is that we can do to help people that have this disease. You know what I'm saying? This is not just a gay problem. This is our problem. This is everybody's problem. And like I said, y'all, after Ryan, other people started coming out with saying, like, yes, I have AIDS. So in 1990, after he passed away, the government created the Ryan White Care Act. 4 months after he passed away. And the Ryan White Care Act basically funded low income families and individuals who, you know, couldn't really afford AIDS drugs and couldn't really afford to go get tested. Like it created ways for people to, y'all see how it's so easy to get an HIV test now. You know what I'm saying? You can go into your primary care physician like, yo, I want to get tested for AIDS, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Back then, before him, it wasn't like that. Like I said, it was a stigma. A lot of people didn't want to talk about it. You know, a lot of people didn't care about it because, like I said, y'all, it was a gay disease. You know what I'm saying? Until he passed away. And also another person, Rock Hudson. Now, a lot of people didn't know that Rock Hudson was gay until he passed away. And a lot of people didn't know that he had AIDS until he passed away. Now, Rock Hudson was like a fucking movie icon. He was like, you know, before James, but after James Dean or before James Dean, you know, because you think James Dean, a lot of people think icon. Rock Hudson was the heartthrob, y'all, of the 50s and the 40s and the 30s and whenever that dude started making movies. In the 1980s, he came out and did an interview, and the man had lost all his weight. He was thin in the face and all type of stuff, and everybody thought that he had cancer. And then the next day, he did that interview and admitted, yes, I have AIDS. Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I am gay. And yes, I have AIDS. The next day, Rock Hudson passed away. So when that happened, and with Ryan White, I'm telling y'all, that's when people really started like, wait a second, this is like a serious illness. Like people, like anybody can really get this shit. So, you know, the Ryan White Care Act, like I said, it funded people that didn't have money, you know, people that were uninsured and couldn't afford drugs for this. Now, you know, now it's like I told y'all, it's a lot easier to get tested. It's a lot easier to get treated. You know what I mean? And it's thanks to people like him. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good thing, you know? So yeah, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this story time. I really wanted to do this story time because I remember hearing about him as a kid. You know what I mean? I grew up in the 90s, and I remember hearing about him as a kid. But I was young, and I didn't really understand, you know, how much courage it took for this kid to actually be. And it started so small, y'all. He just wanted to go to school. You know what I mean? All of this started because he wanted to go to school. And he even said it himself. He's like, I never wanted to be like a AIDS icon. I never wanted to be famous. I never wanted people to like look at me and be on some shit like, oh, he's famous and all type of stuff like that. And y'all, throughout everything, he stayed the same. He stayed exactly the same. He still hung out with his friends. He still went to prom. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, y'all, he went to dances. He had the time of his life. You know what I mean? As much as he could before he went. But he would tell you, I never wanted to be famous. Like, I just wanted to go to school, you know? So I just thought that was cool that, you know, everything started just from him going to school. Just from him saying, nah, I got a right to go to school. His mom, too. His mom started a foundation in his name, the Ryan White Foundation. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can go and donate to that if y'all choose to. Elton John started a foundation. You know, I'm not sure if it's in his name. I think it's called the Elton John AIDS Foundation or whatever. But Elton John will tell you, you know, he knew because he was a part of the gay community that, you know, they're not trying to hear us. So many people, y'all. So many people died, y'all. So many gay people died from this disease just because of the stigma. Just because people really felt like, okay, no, they deserve this because they're gay. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until this kid came along and said, nah, I want to go to school. And I got a right to be treated equally. So yeah, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. Shout out to all my subscribers. Y'all know I love y'all so much. Y'all know that I love doing these videos for y'all or whatever like that. I hope that y'all enjoyed this story. And I'll hit y'all with the next video at another time. I love y'all. Take care. Peace.